mouth is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Every time open a sex game, my kick, the words, my faith, can't even only be money saves. It's like an earthquake, I'm calling you out. Create a constant, just get it from the back. Such a nice place, just a more for all.
All right, so hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so yes, I almost forgot that Diddy's hearing today. Well, they have an emergency hearing. Okay, and that's going to be starting in just a few short moments. So while we wait, we're going to sit here and entertain ourselves. So for those of you who missed it, okay, if you weren't on the backup channel, you didn't see that I reported that Diddy's sons, Christian Combs and Quincy Brown, have come out and threatened to sue Courtney Burgess. Okay, come out and threaten to sue him. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to give you all that information for those of you who missed in just a second. So likes up, please like and share. Thank you in advance, okay? Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, honey, why are you here? Is what you should be asking yourselves. Okay, now, so due to the previous broadcast on this channel, when the likes, as far as I'm concerned, weren't liking, okay, we're going to be talking about the liars and the frauds on a special members only broadcast at 5 o'clock. All right, so with that all being said, we're waiting for them to start this meeting or this hearing with Diddy. And so while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and show the clip from my video from the backup channel where I talked about Diddy's sons, in fact, threatening to sue Courtney Burgess. Let me find my timestamp real quick. Okay, so here we go. Likes up, everyone. Click the likes up. Okay, Fat Boo said the liar that lies, Queen. Exactly. You already know. Okay. That all being said, honey, now if you want to see that other video that I was going to show for free this morning, you can just purchase a membership or miss it. Okay? Eyes. Okay? Now let me just go ahead and post this real quick. Diary. Okay, so Diddy's sons affairs that's going on here. First of all, let's talk about Diddy's sons. Because speaking of liars who lie, I was the first one to tell you guys that Courtney Burgess was absolutely telling lies. Okay, I told you all that. But so let's talk about it because now Diddy's sons are threatening to sue him. Okay, they're threatening to sue him. And this just came out fresh off the press. Okay, I didn't even realize until I ended the other live, or I would have talked about it on there. So anyway, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, here's the thing. Oh, and also don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok to Dr_A_Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the queen is cooking, please don't hate. Just leave. Exit stage left. Don't let the virtual doorknob hit you on the way out. Now listen to this, reported by TMZ, okay, just hours ago. Says Diddy's sons say you can't sell Kim Porter book, threatened author over alleged diary. Okay, so Diddy's sons are waging their own legal battle now, warning the man who's hawking the Kim Porter book, allegedly based on her diary, to shut it down or face a lawsuit. And they're talking about none other than Courtney Burgess, aka Courtney B. Now, Christian and Quincy Combs, they called him Quincy Combs. His name is Quincy Brown, okay? But Christian Combs and Quincy Brown fired off a cease and desist letter to a guy named Courtney Burgess and to his attorney, Ariel Mitchell, over Kim Porter Tell-It-All, a book, okay? Currently sold online under the pseudonym Jamal Millwood. So they say in the letter obtained by TMZ, the Combs brothers say they became the rightful heirs and owners of Kim's intellectual property rights following her death in November of 2018, and therefore her purported diary entries belong to them. Now, as they point out, Burgess himself did a bunch of interviews to promote the book, claiming it was an original unedited copy of her diary and memoir. He is alleged to have a flash drive from people who were close to Kim and printed it without any edits to produce the book. Now, Quincy and Christian are shooting down that narrative, saying the whole flash drive tale is patently false, saying that he's lying and misleading the public. But in the letter, they did add that if it were true, the flash drive would belong to them as being her heirs. So he's really got no leg to stand on. They said we spoke to Burgess and Mitchell a few weeks ago in New York City, where they told us they met with federal prosecutors. Now, this is what TMZ is saying. Said they met with federal prosecutors. We're told the FEDS seized his phone, which contained a copy of the flash drive data used for the book. Now, Kim and Diddy's sons are now putting Burgess on the clock. They say he has 5 days to shut down the online sale of the book, stop doing interviews, making false claims, and turn over any of Kim's possessions that he claims to have. They also want an accounting of any monies that he's made off the book already. Oh, his face is about to be real cracked. That's about to be real cracked. Now, the unspoken threat here is a lawsuit could be the Combs' brothers' next move. Okay, so please pay attention, honey. Okay, so they're threatening to sue him at the end of the day. Okay, and Courtney's been telling all these lies at the end of the day. We don't know if he actually had flash drive footage or not, but I don't think that he did. Because for one, like I told you guys, the different stories that he's told about it. Now, Aqua Girl Rising said, are they suing Chris Todd too? No, I don't think they didn't mention Chris Todd, at least not in that report. But here's the thing. They've given him a cease and desist. Al B. Sure already gave Chris Todd a cease and desist weeks ago, okay, almost a month ago. And that's why the book was put on hold on Amazon. They haven't been selling it, and they haven't been able to get the money that they made off of the book on Amazon as of yet, according to what Courtney Burgess told me when he was on my show. So they say Chris Todd was bragging that he made $1 million in 12 days. So supposedly that money has not been released. Okay, so quite frankly, Al B. Sure may sue him. I don't know, but he's already taken the book down, so there's no need for them to mention him because they're giving Courtney Burgess the opportunity to stop selling the book, to take it down off the internet, and to give them any possessions that he claims to have that actually did belong to their mother. They said that he doesn't have any flash drives, and even if he did, that too would belong to them. And they're absolutely right. So with that all being said, please pay attention, honey. It's all going down, honey. They're not playing with him, sitting up there telling all these darn lies. Now let's go to the court, because it looks like I just saw Diddy's attorneys, Mark Agnifilo and another man, walk into the courthouse. And as you know, when it's a federal case, they don't show any footage inside the courtroom. All we get to hear is what the reporters say after the fact, and also the sketches and whatnot, okay, by the court artists. All right, and so let's just see what all happens here. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm going to wind it back just a little bit to show them walking in. I think that's his attorneys. Not those people right there. I think I specifically saw Mark Agnifilo. Let me go back just a little bit. That's them right there. Now, that looks like Diddy's attorneys. The guy in the front, the first one to go through the door, definitely looks like Mark Agnifilo. Okay, so let's just see what goes down, honey, because this is all crazy. I'm here for every last bit of it. Okay. Fat Boo said, have they released his jail photo? We have been deprived. I haven't seen any of it, honey. And for those of you who are members on this channel, there's the link to the members only broadcast that'll be airing at 5 o'clock, okay, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we can talk about the liars who lie. All right. And so anyway, while we're waiting, let's just listen to a few songs and whatnot. Here's one of my favorites. Ode to Diddy. I wasn't the only one. Please pay attention.
It's me now. You're my truth now. Yeah. I'm here to speak and make it clear. I'm sorry, y'all, for all I've done. But I'm not the only one. In a dark place, I told some lies, but I'm not the only one. We all got secrets under the sun. In the shadows, we played the game. Now I'm standing here taking the blame. A lot of y'all was at the freak off too, so don't put it all on me. That's just the truth. I've been up and down this road trying to find my peace. Confessions of a man without a release. Oh, now, hey. In the mirror, I saw the truth hiding in plain view. I'm coming clean now. This burden to undo. We were all there dancing shadows in the night, acting wrong when we knew what was right. But deep inside, there's more you must see. In this room of mirrors, it's not just me. I walk this path with heavy chains, trying to shed those sins, erase the stains. I've seen the highs and the pushing low, fading in the spotlight. That's how it goes. Yeah. Now I'm standing here, hard on my sleeve, trying to clear the air, let the demons relieve. Every wrong turn and every mistake led me to this moment, let my soul quake. plays a part in the shadows deep, lost in the game. It's promises to keep.
All right. And so that I've been saying, now a word from my sponsor, 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase your 12 Tribes at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and also you can find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's keep the music going until they get ready to get it all started. Here we go. Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Every time look at a sex game, my kid, the words, my faith, can't even only been money saves. It's like an earthquake, don't calling you out. Queen of constant, this kid about about such an awesome place. Just a more for all. My haters, go ahead and get gone. Go ahead and get gone. In this kingdom we rise like the dawn. Each step we take, we keep marching on. Queen royals, we own the throne. Through highs and lows, we stand strong. By haters, we've heard it all before. We'll keep shining while you walk out the door.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Every time look at a sex game, my kick and words, my faith, can't even only been money saves. It's like an earthquake, don't calling you out. Queen of constant, this kid about me about such an awesome place. Just a more for all. My haters, go ahead and get gone. Go ahead and get gone. Can't you see I'm on the move with my royals by my side? Walk sense of God. You spread rumors, we still shine. All you nothing, my hands to my haters. We waving you away. We got love and soul, and that's here to stay. Each sweat time living yours. We gotta live on, baby. Extend scores. So I hate it. Oh.
Another Okay, so listen. Okay, so now listen. For some reason, it's saying the live ended. Are they not going to be filming outside of the courthouse all of a sudden? Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Hold on. Let me see here. Likes up. Everyone, please like and share. Let me figure out what's going on here. Because two of the channels said the lives ended. Yeah, it says this live ended. I don't know. Maybe they're thinking it's going to be a long wait. Let me check one more thing. Hold on. Now, while we're waiting to figure it all out, let's go to what they're saying on law and crime, because they're going to be showing it live too, okay? So if they start the live, then we'll see if they're going to go ahead and show the whole thing. All right, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, I'm going to put an overlay on this as to avoid any copyright issues. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Mauricio, I'll start with you. What do you make of Sean Combs' request here? Or let me put this way. Sean Combs not only requests for a hearing, but the accusations they made against the government.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he requested a hearing. I've never seen ever this type of, investigation where they're going in and taking pictures of legal pads. I'm not surprised that they're doing it, but in my experience, I've never seen it done. I don't know exactly what the pictures were of, but the fact that it went through a filter team, that they never reached out to, the criminal defense attorneys, it really raises an eyebrow regarding the government's actions and how they're really treating this case. I mean, Diddy must know that they are looking at every single thing. They are listening to every single phone call that he's making. I heard that he's making three-way calls, that he's breaking the rules. But when it comes to Diddy, he can't stop because he won't stop because he can't stop. So I'm not surprised.
I knew you were planning on it.
I had to do it.
You were probably figuring out a way to use that all for this whole show, and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to save it for a half hour, and I'm going to save it for my first answer. So just to provide a little bit more perspective on this, if you've been following us here on Long Crime, you've been following us on Sidebar, you know that the feds actually raided the Metropolitan Detention Center where Sean Combs is currently housed. They were it was a pre-planned sweep. They were looking for contraband. And what the prosecutor said is during the course of this sweep, they looked into Sean Combs' jail cell. And there was an investigator that was part of the Bureau of Prisons that was looking into things. And they write the prosecutors write in their filing, on the defendant's bunk, investigator one found the following items: manila folder marked legal, a notebook labeled, and that's actually redacted, an address book, personal effects, and talking about not that they just took out materials and looked at everything, but took photos of it, sent it to a filter team sent it to the prosecutors. That's my understanding. Safa, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to what you think of the defense's argument and the prosecution's response. But I guess the bigger question is, what could happen from this hearing? What's the best case scenario for Sean Combs here?
I mean, the best case scenario for Mr. Combs is that there's some.
Okay, so let's stop for a second because here's a tweet from the Inner City Press. It says Sean Combs comes in from the holding cell at MDC jail, tan, walking fine, hugs his attorneys and sits down. Now just waiting for Judge Subramaniam. Okay, so apparently they're waiting on the judge. Diddy just came in. They said he's walking fine. He hugs his attorneys. So apparently if he's walking fine, they may have, gone ahead and given him his request, granted his request to have the leg restraints removed. Because remember, I reported to you all earlier on the previous broadcast that in fact Diddy did not want to be walked in wearing shackles as he has been the other times before when he was trying to get his bail. Okay, so let's continue.
Sanctions imposed against the government with respect to the evidence that was allegedly obtained in this case. Those documents, those being suppressed out of the case. And I'm not sure, but we may even be having a conversation about dismissal later down the line, but I don't generally really think that that's going to be the case here. But some sanctions imposed on the prosecution team, removal of those prosecutors as well could be a possibility. So there's a number of things that the judge could determine to do going forward.
So again, as I said, I'm going to provide updates about what's happening in that court. We're also taking your questions. We have a question from V on YouTube. Do we know what was found in the Diddy jail cell sweep? So as I just mentioned, they found this manila folder marked legal, a notebook labeled, and it's actually redacted, an address book, and then personal effects. But as they said, the prosecutors, it was more with respect to business interest and family, and it doesn't seem to be attorney work product or privileged conversations. But we'll see. We'll see what the arguments are in court. We also have an update from court. So Sean Combs just walked in from his holding cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center. He's wearing that tan jumpsuit that he was wearing at his last hearing. He is walking fine, so he seems to be walking okay. He hugged his lawyers, sat down, and now he's just waiting for Judge Subramanian. By the way, I have to let everybody know, we weren't planning for this hearing. We were actually planning on going live on Friday because there's going to be an issue of bail. And Mauricio, you mentioned it before. That's a more tricky argument for Sean Combs because prosecutors just came forward and said he is obstructing justice from jail. He's having these three-way phone calls. He is taking other inmates' phone privileges to contact people that are not on his.
And so let me just say this because, yes, he's supposed to have his bail hearing on Friday. Now, this was an emergency hearing that supposedly Judge Subramanian called, okay, that the judge supposedly ordered, according to the reports that I saw. Okay, the inkwell says, oh, tan jumpsuit. Yes, he's not wearing the orange. Okay, Neil says, so will he still have his bail hearing? Yes. As far as we know, beloved, he'll still have that on Friday. Okay, but let's continue.
Contact list, that he is devising this scheme to use third parties to reach out to witnesses in the case. There was also this allegation that he is orchestrating a social media campaign, not just to help his public image, but to potentially taint a future jury pool by, his son took over his Instagram and has been posting positive videos of his father. But then they also, as we know, as we reported on Sidebar, the show that I host.
Okay, so here's another tweet that says, still sitting waiting for the judge. Combs is chatting with his attorney, Anthony Rico, seated to his left in a bow tie. Okay, so still waiting for the judge to answer, honey. I'm keeping y'all updated, honey. Please pay attention.
That he actually orchestrated this happy birthday message with him and his family. They're literally wishing him a happy birthday. You hear him on the other end. He's speaking from jail. So that seems to be the trickier conversation. We weren't planning for this hearing, but what are your thoughts on the idea of Sean Combs getting let out of jail?
I doubt it's going to happen. He's not helping himself. This is not pity. Diddy runs the city like he did before. Or, this is, you're in prison.
Let me acknowledge the super chats and all of that. Okay, so Dion 954 became a new member. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. And also, let me shout out to Big Chief. I believe it was Big Chief yesterday. I'll have to go back to double check. That sent me a super chat, and I missed it. Okay, while I was broadcasting. Okay, I don't want to leave anybody out. Thanks for all of you who donate to the channel, who show your appreciation by liking the videos, sending donations, becoming members, and all that you do. For those of you who send me gifts and all of those things, I really appreciate you all. Okay, so with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
You're in jail, federally indicted. You had a couple machine guns with altered serial numbers at your house, like a real gangster. When a judge is thinking about whether or not he's going to let you out, he's going to take everything into consideration, including the actions that you're taking right now. I think that someone like him doesn't really understand how close they're looking. I mean, they're literally taking pictures of his legal pads. That's crazy. So they're going to listen to every single thing that you say to every single person, and then get ready for the jailhouse snitches. That's going to happen here for sure. There's going to be the guy that says that he was drinking jailhouse wine and spontaneously blurted out, I did it. That's every single high-profile case. I totally think that that's going to happen. I don't think that he's going to get a bond simply because nothing's changed. So for a judge to, go back on his ruling, especially with a guy like him, he gets out and he starts making mistakes and does something bad, the judge is going to look bad.
Yeah, by the way, the standard is much lower. We're not talking about did he have three-way phone calls and obstruct justice to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just the standard of did he meet to get pretrial release, to get bail. And it doesn't seem, unless they can put forward a really compelling argument by the defense, that he's going to be able to justify that if these allegations are taken as true by the court. Okay, some questions. Question from Andy on X. Is he shackled? No, he is not shackled because the defense won that motion to have him unshackled for this proceeding and maybe presumably for future proceedings. Here's a question for you, Safa. This is a question from Erica Potter Childs on YouTube. How does an inmate have personal space rights? Now the attorney-client privilege, I understand, but anything else is fair game in jail. So I guess the question would be, What is a criminal defendant's Fourth Amendment rights in jail against, unreasonable search and seizures?
Well, those Fourth Amendment rights to search and seizure are certainly limited when a person is incarcerated. But the thing is this, at the end of the day, Mr. Combs, he's facing these accusations. He has an attorney. He's always protected by that attorney-client privilege. The search and seizure rights don't supersede his ability to have that attorney-client privilege that's been granted to him by the Constitution. So there's a fine line here. Not only that, but if you've got an allegation that the government is going in doing this prison sweep, generally speaking, those things are done to prevent contraband and other things to have been found or to be in possession of those things, or to prevent individuals from being in possession of those things. That doesn't appear to be the case here. Legal documents, legal pads, notebooks don't appear to be contraband. They're not drugs. They're not going to harm anybody. So that's a very fine line in question between whether or not, those rights have been violated and so on and so forth.
And by the way, the government addressed that in their filing. They said, although pretrial detainees like the defendant retain some Fourth Amendment protections, that does not mean that those rights are not subject to restrictions and limitations. Even when a prison regulation impinges on inmates' constitutional rights, that regulation is valid if it's reasonably related to legitimate peniological interests, meaning about the prison safety and things like that. Although pretrial detainees may have some residual privacy interests that are protected by the Fourth Amendment, courts must weigh those interests against the requirements of preservation of institutional security and order, meaning got to weigh that against what's happening in the prison. All right, we got an update from court. Still waiting for the judge. Sean Combs is chatting with his lawyer, Anthony Rico, and he's seated to his left in a bow tie. Here's a question from Sindonia12 from YouTube. How is Diddy able to consistently break protocol and take the phone time of fellow inmates? So that's a good question for you, Mauricio, right? I did a sidebar on this. Is it common that you see a criminal defendant maybe taking the phone privileges of another inmate? Now, it's not alleged that he did it by force and threatened them. There was an allegation that these other inmates were getting paid for their phone privileges. What do you take away from that?
I'm pretty sure that they probably are, but imagine he's probably got a bunch of fanboys in there. He's P. Diddy, he's famous. I'm sure I read an article that people are competing to make his bed and things of that nature. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I'm pretty sure people are tripping over themselves to assist him because they figure out maybe, he can give me money, or he can, he can produce my next album for the inmates that wish to be rappers, which I'm sure there's a bunch in there. But yeah, listen, regarding Fourth Amendment, I mean, when you're locked up, that's somewhere where they do routine cavity searches. So I don't understand what people think that they have privacy rights when you're incarcerated, when they could literally give you a cavity search, that it doesn't get more intrusive than that. So I always counsel my clients, expect zero privacy. They will listen to everything. They will look through everything. They will read everything. And the higher profile the case, the more they're going to care. And this is, I just don't understand. Like, if it's a balancing test with the prosecution, what did you get out of this? And is it worth the bad press? Because this is bad press for the prosecution. I mean, I don't think it spins well for them that they're going through all this and taking pictures of legal pads and things of that nature. In my opinion, it doesn't look good for the prosecution.
Before I go to you, Safa, on an interesting legal question, Mauricio, I have arguably the most important question that we have. This is for you. It's about the wine in the jail. How do inmates make wine in jail, Mauricio? That seems to be the question that is dominating our YouTube.
Though they get like fruit or anything, they stick it in a bag with water, and then they put it somewhere and let it ferment, and then eventually that's how you get the jailhouse hooch or whatever they call it. And they drink it, and it gets you wasted. It's popular, and it always goes in conjunction with the jailhouse snitch. The jailhouse snitch always says he was drunk on wine when he spontaneously blurted out, "I did it."
It's Food Network style. All right, let me ask you this, Saf. I want to read you. This is from the Sean Combs defense filing, one of their latest filings. I want to read you where they talk about. They say these notes are obviously privileged. I'm going to read you parts of it. Of the 19 pages provided to counsel, 11 pages are Combs' notes to and with his lawyers. These notes reflect actual conversations with his attorneys concerning aspects of his trial preparation and his efforts to be released on bail. The notes refer to defense counsel by name, include discussions of defense experts and witnesses, discuss cross-examination and credibility of witnesses, and overall defense strategy. Mr. Combs' handwritten notes covering legal strategy are now in the hands of the trial prosecutors, who hope to take advantage of the breach they committed to better prepare for the May 2025 trial, bring new charges, and argue for Mr. Combs' detention. And then they go on a little bit later to say if the warning legal on that manila folder wasn't enough, the notes are obviously legal materials that he discusses with his lawyer. They repeatedly refer to his lawyers by name. On the 14th, and then a lot of this is actually redacted, but they said that this is clear wrongdoing. The notes are replete with discussions of legal strategy. They all should have been obvious to everyone who looked at these notes, including Investigator 1, who was that investigator from the Bureau of Prisons, and the taint team and the trial team. How does the prosecution argue against that?
Well, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, they've got to get around a number of hurdles, essentially. And to Mr. Padillah's point, this is bad press for them. You know, they have to get around how they got into that manila folder that is clearly marked legal. That's number one. Number two, then we have to go to the point of once somebody is taking photos of this, it's clearly legal material. It's clearly work product. How do we get around, saying that this is okay? And I think that's really a better question for the defense. I hate when prosecutors try to say, well, that's not privileged or that's not Brady material, when in fact it's up to the defense and the defendant to decide what's Brady material and what's important to us, because we are the ones that are crafting and framing our defense. They're not in any better position to tell us what that is. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get around this. Of course, the argument that it's not confidential, it's privileged, maybe they will disclose or say that some of this information had initially been disclosed in their disclosure.
Okay, so while we're waiting, I'm still checking back and forth to see if anything else has been posted as of yet. But while we're still waiting on that, let's talk about the documents, okay, that were submitted. Okay, now this one was submitted, I do believe, on yesterday. It says, Dear Judge Subramaniam, now the government respectfully submits this letter in connection with the defendant's letter dated November the 18th of 2024. And in response to the court's order issued earlier today, for the reasons that follow, the relief requested by the defendant, including an evidentiary hearing, are unnecessary. Because remember, Diddy was the one who initiated the request for having an emergency hearing so they could find out whether or not the judge also believed that his rights had been violated with them taking his personal notes that were pertaining to correspondences between he and his attorneys. Now, they go on to say, on or about September the 16th of 2024, the defendant was arrested. The following day, the above referenced indictment was unsealed and the defendant was presented, arraigned before the Honorable Robin F. Turnovsky, United States Magistrate Judge. Now, as part of that proceeding, the government moved for detention under the Bail Reform Act, finding that there was no condition that denied the defendant bail. The following day, the Honorable Andrew L. Carter heard the defendant's bail appeal, and after a lengthy hearing determined that the government had proven by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant was a danger to the community and a risk of obstruction. Please pay attention. Now, let me check back with X, to see what they're saying thus far. Okay, so this is all getting real nefarious real quick. So I'm going to be switching back and forth just until we find out exactly what's going on here. So with that all being said, let's go back to law and crime.
But it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Little update from court. So Sean Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, he said this to the court, we expect Alexandra Shapiro to arrive at any moment from the Second Circuit. This is another one of Sean Combs' lawyers. I have Sean Love Combs to my left. The judge said, fine. What are you seeking? Agnifilo, we want to know how his notes with lawyers came into their possession. We're going to continue to update. We're going to continue to take your questions on this. One question I have, Mauricio, is how much can the prosecution rely on, well, look, this was the Bureau of Prisons who did this. It wasn't us. And also went through a filter team, there's something in.
Okay, so let me stop right here. Here's another Twitter update. I was half listening, so I'm not sure if he said what I'm already about to say. Looks like there's two updates. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's quite a few. Hold on. Okay, so Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, we know enough to make out a constitutional violation, but we need to know more details about the failures. We haven't been able to test their explanation. We need the surveillance video of the search. Now, he wants to see the darn footage, okay? And I don't blame him. Now, Combs' lawyer, Agnifilo, he has an expectation of privacy in his legal notes. The judge says this occurred during a BOP, which is Bureau of Prisons, by the way, okay, sweep of the jail. But you're saying that it was a pretext. This is what the judge asked Agnifilo, who then replies, yes, 19 pages of the notes were given from the taint team to them. Now, Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, says, we may ask for dismissal of the indictment or for the recusal of the prosecution team. Now, Judge Subramaniam says, they used two portions in responded on bail, he asked, and you want me to consider those? And Agnifilo says, they need to hand over those notes. Okay, so then the judge says, keep it on the logistics. And then Combs' lawyers, Agnifilo, says, we're not sure if it was investigator one, who was the one doing the search, who interviewed Mr. Combs, who went to the area where the legal papers even were. Once we know that, we could have a Fifth Amendment transgression. This is what Agnifilo says. So this was just like 2 minutes ago. Okay, these last correspondences from like 2 minutes ago. And then please pay attention because Agnifilo says that they may ask for a dismissal of the indictments. Didn't I tell you all about this stuff like this? Didn't I tell you all that they're going to mess right around and let Diddy get off on a technicality or something? Now they go on to say that Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, says, we don't know what the taint team has. We want to know, and we want the material back while this is pending. We cannot waive his attorney-client privilege. We have to be direct or aggressive. Not sure that's the right word. Okay, this is what he said, honey. This is all getting real interesting real quick. Okay, please pay attention. Please pay attention, honey. This is all nefarious. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. We are on it, honey. Okay? Cherie says, Queen, Diddy is sending goons to content creators' homes, literally pulling up. Amala is one of the content creators per Mr. Let Go YouTuber. Ashe, beloved. Really? Well, honey, they better not pull up to the Queen's house, honey. Okay, because I promise you, they don't want the smoke. All right? They don't want the smoke over here, okay? Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, are we sure Diddy is sending people to people's houses? Because, some people clout chasing out here in these streets. I'm not saying that person's clout chasing, but what I am saying is that a whole lot of people clout chasing. Okay, I don't think the content creators would be the most of Diddy's problems. I think we'd, in fact, be the least. He's got a whole lot more to be worried about than us talking about it. Now, so still waiting to see what's next. Okay, here we go. Now they're saying Judge Subramaniam says, government, what happened here? He's asking the prosecution. He says, government, what happened here? Why were they taking photos of Mr. Combs' notebooks? Okay, because make it all make sense because clearly that wasn't contraband. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I have my own theories about exactly what the hell's going on here. I have my own theories. Okay, Jeff ATL said, Queen got the Glock ready. You already know. Okay, and so with this all being said, listen, this is all getting real interesting. So it goes on to say, why were they taking photos of Diddy's notebooks? Okay. And then AUSA Mary Christine Slavic says, none of the prosecutors had contact with them. The judge says, but investigator one was monitoring Mr. Combs' communications in and out. Oh, honey, so don't y'all start lying because the judge is clearly on to you. Okay. The judge is clearly on to you. But let me just tell you guys something. I told you guys that y'all know I went to school for criminal justice, so I have a very good knowledge of the law, in fact. And then I have my own theories as to why all of this is going down. And we're going to talk about that on another live, honey. And just remember when we talk about it that you heard it here first. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, still waiting because that last correspondence that was posted was from 2 years ago. And here's the thing. Why were they taking pictures? Now, it clearly was not contraband. Okay, so why would they be doing all of that? Why would they be doing all of that? I told y'all these fools gonna mess around trying to be so shady and shisty and gonna mess right around and then have Diddy just get off on a technicality. I've been telling y'all that for weeks. Okay, remember who told you that first?
In their filing that I want to read you to, where they say, even if there was inadvertent disclosure of privileged material to the prosecution team, that alone does not suggest that a defendant's constitutional rights were violated or that a defendant is entitled to relief. And they cite a case that says this after the fact notice of potentially privileged documents did not render the government's earlier search unreasonable. The government's review need only be reasonable, not perfect.
Listen, if you have DOJ pointing the finger at the Bureau of Prisons and the Bureau of Prisons pointing the finger at the DOJ, that's like a disaster. Like, I don't even understand, what they thought they were going to accomplish. At the end of the day, it's the government. You're incarcerated. I've never even heard of people that work in the prison taking the steps to proactively alert prosecutors of things that they found in cells.
Now, exactly. That's how you know it's some shady goings on. Because what are the people who work in the prison even doing, consorting with the prosecutors about what they found in Diddy's cells? See, y'all need to pay attention to this, okay? Please pay attention. Now, while we're waiting for the next correspondence, I'm going to tell you a little bit more of what's in these documents. I'm going to be flipping back and forth, so please just be patient. Now, so then the defendant's communications. Okay, since being ordered detained, the defendant has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn's MDC, a Bureau of Prisons BOP facility. With respect to inmate communications, all BOP inmates, including the defendant, are afforded the opportunity to confer with their attorneys on unmonitored phone lines. So they can't monitor. They're not supposed to be monitoring what he's saying to his attorneys on the phone. And nor, since that's the case, then that means they also wouldn't be, they're not supposed to be privy to what he's putting in his notes. That was correspondences between he and his attorneys. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, it goes on to say other communications occur over BOP monitored phone lines and email as part of its general practice to screen monitored communication for content that could jeopardize the public or the safety, security, or orderly operation of the facility. Okay, BOP staff, including a particular BOP investigator called Investigator 1 in these filings, has consistently monitored the defendant's communications on monitored communication channels, including monitoring phone lines. Now, this monitoring is independent of the case team, okay, i.e. the assistant United States attorneys are charged with the investigation and prosecution of the defendant. And this is not done at its direction. So they're trying to say that the prosecution didn't tell them to do this and that he was supposedly being monitored. Well, here's the thing. If Diddy was being monitored, and I'm sure that he was, if he was being monitored, then why would they be going through all of his things during that supposed jail raid and acting like he had something he wasn't supposed to have? Because clearly, if he's been monitored, wouldn't they already know that, okay, by the person who was there doing the monitoring? Make it all make sense? I'm sure they cannot.
They usually don't do that. Like they're going to look for drugs, contraband, things that are dangerous. They're not going to be taking pictures and then giving it over to the prosecution. It's really bad if they're pointing fingers at each other at this point and at this early stage in the game. Like they're really they're really stepping all over everywhere with muddy boots.
Safa, we have an update from court. Wanted to ask you about. So Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, says he has an expectation of privacy in his legal notes. The judge said this occurred during a Bureau of Prisons sweep of the jail, but you're saying it was a pretext? Yes, 19 pages of the notes were given from the taint team to them. Mark Agnifilo says, when we know enough to make out a constitutional violation, but we need to know more detail about the failures. We haven't been able to test their explanation. We need the surveillance video of the search. Two things I take away from that. One, they basically are suggesting that this sweep by, even though the government has said this was a pre-planned sweep of the jail, there might be more to it. They're saying it was a pretext, but B, I don't know if they're even asking for some sort of relief right now, but for more information, almost like an investigation into what happened. What do you take away from that back and forth?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, to the first point, I'm a little skeptical. While this may have been a pretextual search or pre-planned, and this scheduling of this search was prior to Mr. Combs being taken into custody, everybody knows that Mr. Combs has been under investigation since last year. And I would highly anticipate that the government knew that at some point he would be coming into custody later this year.
Okay, let's go back to the documents while we're still waiting on another correspondence. Okay, so with that all being said, goes on to say, now, as set out in the government's November 15th, 2024 brief and made clear on the record during the previous bail hearings, the governor's grand jury or the government's grand jury investigation of the defendant, including the defendant's obstruction related to his criminal case, is continuing. As part of that investigation, the government has sent grand jury subpoenas and document requests to the BOP for the defendant's monitored communications, including phone calls and emails. From those materials, the government has learned that the defendant has persisted in engaging in obstructive conduct since he entered BOP custody. Now, this is what the prosecution is saying. Okay. Among other things, the defendant has engaged in unauthorized communications practices, including three-way calling on the monitored phone line, use of the other inmates' phone access codes or PAC numbers to make phone calls on the monitored phone line, and 3, use of a third-party texting messaging provider through the BOP's monitored email line. Through the BOP's monitored email system. Each of these methods of communication is prohibited by BOP. Furthermore, as set out in the government's November 15th, 2024 brief, the defendant used these unauthorized methods of communications to continue to engage in obstruction, including by instructing third parties to reach out to witnesses and attempting to influence the jury pool in this criminal case. Now, the defendant has used all 3 of the aforementioned methods of communications to communicate with his attorneys. Accordingly, although it's clear to all parties involved that these calls and emails are monitored in an abundance of caution, the government sends any potentially privileged communications, i.e., any communications involving an attorney, to the filter team for review because it was released to the case team. Before it was released to the case team. Now, as the government's longstanding practice in basically ongoing covert investigations, such as the investigation into the defendant's obstructive conduct in the MDC, the government did not disclose potentially privileged communications to defense counsel in the first instance. Now, as stated in the government's opposition to the defendant's bail motion, the government intends to produce all the defendant's emails, phone calls, and in full to defense counsel today. Okay, so they're saying that anything that they found, all the stuff that they came up with, they're supposed to be giving all of that to the defense counsel today. Okay, please pay attention. Still no further correspondence on X.
Or at this point in time now. So I would continue to challenge that. At what point when was that search determined that it was going to take place, or when was it scheduled? And then to your second point, the expectation and things of that nature, again, it's going to be really interesting here, how much they think that they can get around that. So.
No, let's talk about that. And by the way, another quick question. This is a question from Tony on YouTube. Is bond going to be discussed today? I don't believe so. I think that's still set for Friday. But going back to, this is the filing from Sean Combs' legal counsel. Mauricio, they write, the Bureau of Prisons sweep was purportedly related to removing contraband at the facility. And by the way, this was reported that they found homemade weapons, they found electronics, they found, drugs. This was all not about Sean Combs, this is about other inmates. But it says, yet Investigator 1 apparently used this sweep as a
Okay, so we have another update. Auntie Leah says, hey, Queen and Loyal Royals. Hello, beloved, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, here's what they're saying. A few more correspondences just came through. Okay, so one of them says, from 3 minutes ago, says, AUSA Slavic says, we're not required to notify the defense of our ongoing investigation of criminal conduct. We receive these materials in an appropriate channel. Whenever we get new information, if there's reason to believe there's privilege, it goes to filter team. Okay, then Judge Subramaniam says, if they were verbatim notes of his meetings with his attorneys or with his lawyers, how would you know without asking the defense? Okay, caught up in their lies, please pay attention. Now, AUSA Slavic then replies, our filter team does a serious job. This investigation was covert. We had a lot of information before charges were brought. Sounds like they're making up excuses to me. And then she goes on to say, I understand there is a dialogue between the defense and the filter team. I'm not a part of that. The judge says, I don't understand that dividing line between the covert investigation and discovery in this case, given that the defendant has been charged. Okay, given that the defendant has been charged. Okay, so honey, it sounds like they're lying. Like I told you all, these people out here doing the damn most and making fools of themselves as far as I'm concerned. So desperate and thirsty. And so now they're coming in they're getting in murky waters, like I told you before. Didn't I tell you guys repetitively that this could lead to a technicality? Did he get in a mistrial or any such thing happening? Okay, because you just can't be violating people's rights. Now, whether or not we like Diddy and think he's nefarious, at the end of the day, you have to go by the rule of law. Everyone is entitled to due process. Okay, you can't give it to one set of people and not the other. Okay, CB says somebody got a payment. Okay, Aqua Girl Rising says facts, Queen. Okay, Luna says no amount of money is going to get Diddy out. Well, here's the thing. They won't need money to get him out, beloved. If they get charged with, violating his rights and all of that, anything could happen. That's what you got to pay attention to. Okay, that's what you got to pay attention to. At the end of the day, they're doing too damn much. And I told y'all this wasn't going to work out good. The Inkwell said, that's the strategy. He's walking out. I want y'all to pay attention. Stop the Planet I Want Off says, wow, child, let's be clear. Okay, this is all crazy. I want y'all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. Okay, but let's continue. Let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Pretext to conduct a targeted seizure of Mr. Combs' handwritten notes about conversations with his lawyers. Tellingly, Investigator 1 did not report that he had identified and confiscated Sean Combs' notes of conversations with his lawyer to supervisors of the multi-agency law enforcement operation. He went straight to the prosecution team. What do you make of that, Mauricio?
If you work for the BOP and you're doing a sweep looking for contraband and cell phones, and all of a sudden you're taking pictures of a legal pad, the people that work with you are going to be like, hey, what are you doing? That's completely targeted. That goes against how they operate. These sweeps are done. They're voluminous. It's work for them, and they got to get it done. For you to take the time to stop and start taking pictures of legal pads and going through his things. And then in addition to that, now Investigator 1 is taking the material that he photographed, where it's not even the norm to do so, to the prosecution, is clearly indicative that it was a target and that Investigator 1 had an agenda. He went in there to take pictures, and it's obvious. I mean, if he wants to argue that he was part of a team and he was looking for contraband, so then why did you stop and take all this time to do this in-depth search of Diddy's legal pads and legal materials? Doesn't make sense.
I'm curious to see the prosecution's response, but right now it's still based on the defense counsel's argument to the court. And to give everybody an update about what's happening in that court, and Saf, I'll throw this to you for your reaction about what's happening. So Mark Agnifilo, again, Sean Combs' lawyer. We need the communications of Investigator 1. We need to know the role of the U.S. Attorney's Office on what should be in photographs. The search was for drugs and guns and cell phones, but these are Combs' legal files. And then the judge said, just keep it on the logistics. Mark Agnifilo says, we're not sure if it was investigator one who was the one doing the search, who interviewed Mr. Combs, who went to the area where his legal papers were. Once we know that, we could have a Fifth Amendment transgression. Safa.
Absolutely. You know, right now what the defense is doing is they're trying to get a hold and a grasp of exactly who launched this investigation, why these photos were taken, why this correspondence happened between investigator one and the U.S. Attorney's Office. And a lot of these questions remain to be foreseen until we have a hearing on the issue. And right now, the defense is seeking a hearing on that issue. So we haven't gotten to that specific hearing as of yet, although they're laying the framework for why that should be taking place. And they're very valid questions. Anything that is created with respect to an investigation must be turned over to the defense, whether it's text messages that a law enforcement officer has created that goes over to the district attorney's office or the U.S. attorney's office, or any sort of documentation, photo, recording, any and everything under the sun has to be turned over to the defense. And so there's definitely a question here as to whether or not that actually happened. What was the motive behind investigator number one taking these photos, and why they got specifically directly to the prosecution team?
I have quite an update from court, and Mauricio, I'm going to ask you your response. Sean Combs' lawyer says, we may ask for dismissal of the indictment or for the recusal of the prosecution team. Judge Subramanian said, they used two portions in responding on bail, and you want me not to consider those? They need to hand over the notes. Wow. So would there be a scenario where Sean Combs' indictment could be thrown out or the prosecution team has to recuse themselves, assuming the worst, assuming this is a violation of Sean Combs' constitutional rights? What do you think?
I mean, listen, the defense is always going to ask for the star, the moons, and everything. That's not going to happen. They're not going to dismiss anything, and they're probably not going to, kick the prosecutors off. But that's the correct thing to ask for. You know what I mean? Like, there's other sanctions that are not as.
Let me tell you all something. At the end of the day, here's the thing. Hold on. I'm just going to let this play. I got a phone call. Hold on, beloved.
Drastic. This could end up with, the judge giving the prosecution a lecture, telling them don't do it again, or which probably is going to end up, I don't see the judge in this case doing something as drastic as what the defense is asking for, but he may do something. He may, give him a talking to.
And by the way, Safa, we have to be clear that this is not the first time Sean Combs' defense counsel has raised allegations of misconduct by the government. There was a whole series of back and forth and motions that the government, more specifically the Department of Homeland Security, had been leaking information to the media. They talked about leaking the 2016 videotape of Sean Combs purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura in that hotel hallway. They said that law enforcement agents were making inappropriate comments to the media. And the judge actually instituted a gag order, even made a comment, Judge Subramanian, that if it's true some of these comments were being made, it's totally improper. Now, here's an update, too, because Mark Agnifilo told the court, we don't know what the team has. We want to know, and we want the material back while this is pending. We cannot waive his attorney-client privilege. We have to be direct or aggressive. So it just seems, and by the way, so it seems to me, Safa, the fact that this hearing is happening, the judge is at least open to what the defense is saying.
Absolutely. And the judge should be, all of these things are issues that could ultimately come back on appeal. So it's best to have a thorough, hearing on the issue, making sure that everybody's crossing their T's and dotting their I's so that we don't have issues for appeal. And that could be an issue if the defense doesn't raise it. And then it could ultimately lead to ineffective assistance of counsel. I think the defense team is being very thorough right now. I think they are being ambitious, but definitely very thorough right now with addressing each and every point that they need to address to ensure that Mr. Combs gets a fair trial to the.
Okay, so listen, guys, there's another update. Listen, guys, there's another update. So let me tell you what it's all saying. And I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what I think is happening. What's my theory? Now, I do believe that the feds are working with the elite. Remember, I told you guys that they want to get that footage, in my opinion, so they can protect these people like Clive Davis or anybody else that's rich and elite and powerful who they don't want exposed. Any politicians or any of these sorts of people, any type of people having anything to do with royalty, any of these people that they want to protect. I absolutely believe that's what's going down. So let's get to the update. Now, here's what it says. So they say, Judge, I want to be cautious since some of this is sealed, but is any of this privileged? And this is what the judge is asking. I'm sorry, the judge says, I want to be cautious since some of this is sealed, but is any of this privileged? AUSA Slavic says the notebook was labeled things to do. It was labeled things to do, not attorney-client. They suggest that they were meant to be in the folder marked legal, but self-labeling is not enough. Now, this is her excuse for them not, for them meddling through his stuff. Now, AUSA Slavic then says these include action items from non-lawyers. That's not privileged. There's information about family members' birthdays, also not privileged. We point to the Lumiere decision by Judge Ratkoff. We are happy to engage with the defense. Okay, but remember, they said that they don't owe it to the defense to warn them or tell them about anything when they're during their investigation. Now, the last correspondence from 45, was this 45 seconds ago? Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the last one, and it was from 4 minutes ago. Okay, so let me repeat that. They say these include action terms for non-lawyers. That's not privileged. There's information about family members' birthdays, also not privileged. We point to the Lumiere decision by Judge Ratkoff. We are happy to engage with the defense, but they just said a few minutes ago that they didn't have to tell the defense anything, so please pay attention. Okay? Please pay attention, but here's what I'm thinking. I want you all to pay attention because like I said, okay, Aqua Girl said, Queen, what's this got to do with the Pow Pows and footage found during the raid? What are you talking about? You talking about the raid at his homes? What this has to do with is everything involved in this case. Because if you're in jail, they cannot be going, period. No matter where you are, they're not supposed to be looking at correspondences between you and your attorney and then giving it to the prosecution. The prosecution would then know your strategy, your defense's strategy, and the game plan. Okay, that's clearly unethical, and that is what they're not supposed to do. It's called attorney-client privilege. Nobody should be knowing or seeing these things except for him and his attorneys. Okay, that's what it has to do with it, beloved. I hope that answered your question sufficiently. Now, with that all being said, the Inkwell says, are these the same feds who illegally searched Mr. T's wife's personals? I don't know, but here's the thing. The bottom line is, from what I believe, now the guy that was on Law and Crime Channel basically said that the most that the judge would do is give the prosecution, a lecture. Well, that may be all that he could do, but what he also could do is just give the defense what they're asking for, which is a dismissal of this indictment. Here's the thing. They could just be, because this is my theory, that perhaps, just perhaps, the darn prosecutors are in fact working with a powerful elite who do not want to be exposed, who fear or know that they may be on footage that Diddy has. And remember, I've been telling you all for weeks that Diddy has the ups on them. That's why when he was talking to his kids on his birthday, he sounded he was such in a happy mood. He didn't sound stressed or pressed at all. He sounded like he was in a good mood and all of that. And why did I tell you all that? Because I told you that Diddy has the ups on them. And let me just tell you how you know Diddy has the ups on them. Please pay attention and put on your critical thinking hats and remember that you heard it here first. So when somebody or anybody comes back and uses my talking points, you already know that the Queen dropped these receipts. Here's the thing. The bottom line is, the feds don't have everything to prove that Diddy did any of this stuff. Because I keep telling you guys that one of the agents anonymously spoke to the New York Post and admitted that they had footage of Diddy watching and engaging in sexual acts with people, but that they didn't have any evidence that it was non-consensual. So they got nothing. And here's further proof. If they had something, then they wouldn't have had to go and search his cell and snatch up his correspondences between him and his attorney, trying to find out whatever they could find. They are desperate. So with that all being said, if they really had the proof and the evidence, would they really have needed to search his cell? Okay. Michael M. said the queen is a great carpenter. She hit the nail on the head. LOL. Thank you, beloved. And by the fact that they meddled through the correspondences that his attorneys gave him, this could be considered fruits of the poisonous tree, which means that it is illegally obtained evidence and they cannot use it because it will not be admissible in a court of law. With that all being said, Diddy could walk his monkey arse right up out of there. And how do we know that Diddy hasn't already been planning and plotting with them and negotiating with them, saying, hey, let me up out of here and I'll give you the footage that you're asking for? How do we know that's not what Diddy is in fact doing? And all of this is just a charade just to make it all look good, because it all sounds real sketchy, because I know damn well that the feds know better than to do what they're accused of doing. They know better than to be doing any of this. Just like I told you weeks ago, they knew better than to leak that footage of Cassie. They know better than to be talking to the New York Post and divulging information that was going on within a continuous investigation. They know better. Okay, especially after Diddy's attorneys already filed and took them to court to ask the judge to give them a gag order so that they could stop giving any type of information to the public or the media. And they know if they give it to the media, it's going to become public. So they know better. Do y'all think the feds are stupid? They are not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. Now, this could all be a way, like I've been telling y'all, to get Diddy up out of there. Okay? And I told y'all from day one, remember that you heard it here first, when I told you guys that when they did that sweep of the jail and they had the interagency people coming up in there, I told y'all they're lying. I don't believe a word of it when they said they're coming there looking for drugs and to find out why these inmates been dying and all of this stuff. I said they could have been did that because allegedly, according to reports, this has been going on for years. Now, all of a sudden, Diddy's in there and here y'all come, multiple agencies deep. I told y'all that it was something nefarious. I said that maybe they came in there to scope out the place to see if they could get rid of Diddy. But then I also told you that how could they really get rid of him if Diddy's got the kill switch? What's the kill switch, Queen Ahmadiyyah? What are you talking about? I'm talking about if Diddy's already put that information, the footage somewhere specific, giving it to certain people like his attorneys, family members, or whomever, has it somewhere stored where only he knows, and also giving copies to other people and said to them that if anything happens to him, drop those damn receipts. How about that? Y'all to pay attention, because Diddy is not that dumb. Okay, Diddy could just be playing along. This whole thing could be going the way he absolutely wants it to go. Let's not forget how with Jeffrey Epstein's case, nobody ever found out who was really on the list, who was really participating in the trafficking of those minors. Nobody ever really came clean, and there was never a list authentically sent out because the judge sealed the list when Jeffrey Epstein supposedly turned up dead. Is he even really dead? We don't know, because they said he was buried in an unmarked grave or grave at the mausoleum next to his mother and father. Okay, so with that all being said, it could be the same shady stuff going on right here. Some people, they do not want to get exposed. Who are some of these people that Allie Carter has mentioned? Didn't she say something about Obama? Didn't she say something about Oprah? I don't know if she's telling the truth, but that's some of the things that she said. At the end of the day, wasn't there some allegations by Rodney Jones about Lucian Grange? Okay, I'm just saying, haven't people said things about Clive Davis? I don't know if all these people had anything to do with it, but there's been allegations. And what if these people have really been doing something and really there's footage? Do you think that footage is ever going to see the light of day and that we'll find out who all these people are behind the smoke and mirrors? Remember, people, all the world is a stage, and everybody in this case could be actors playing the role. Now, let's see if there's any more updates. Remember, you heard it here first. Okay, so no more from the past 16 minutes. Let's just keep waiting to see how it all turns out. Because first of all, you got to think about it. His attorneys have already asked for the dismissal of the indictment. Okay, they're already talking about recusals. What do y'all think about this? This is all real crazy. At the end of the day, we don't know how this is going to turn out. We don't know how this is going to turn out. We don't know what the hell these people are doing. This could all be just a game, and they're just all playing their roles, honey, at the end of the day. Because guess what? I told you all, and I still believe that Diddy is holding all the damn cards. That's why Diddy ain't stressed and pressed. Hell, they came out the other day, Torrey, remember Torrey, the guy that said that his nephew or whomever in his family member, cousin or somebody worked doing an internship for, quite frankly, for Diddy, and then Diddy made a move on him. Now, with that all being said, he also came out the other day and said something about Diddy having men in there who was doing stuff, doing stuff like making up his bed and performing chores for him and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And then we already know, according to the prosecutors themselves, they've already said that Diddy was getting other people's phone privileges. People were letting him have their phone privileges. So does it sound like Diddy's stressed and pressed while he's sitting up in there? At the end of the day, of course he wants to get out. Who wouldn't? But is he really worried? Because I'm sure Diddy knows that he has the goods on them. They need him at this point and not the other way around. Because at the end of the day, guess what? They don't have the proof right now. Because if they did have the proof, why were they searching his cell, like I told you? And why did one of them tell the New York Post what they said about not being able to prove these things were non-consensual? Okay, please pay attention. Okay, Byron Cook says, Queen, I need a lawyer. How much for you? Thank you, beloved. Okay, this is all nefarious. I want y'all to pay attention. All right, Leon says, yes, you told us, Queen. Okay, now let's go back and see what's going on here. Okay, no more updates as of yet. So let's go back and see what Law and Crime is still talking about. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Remember, you heard it here first. Some of y'all on here because you love the Queen. Some of y'all on here because y'all is haters. And that's okay, because we're going to let the haters hate. But at the end of the day, when I start doing these member-only lives, the haters not going to be privy to it unless they want to pay to see. So with that all being said, let's continue.
Best of their ability.
By the way, we're showing everybody these courtroom sketches. You'll see there's multiple judges because this case has been in front of multiple judges before. It's now in front of Judge Arun Subramanian. By the way, we're taking your questions, not just about the hearing. If you have questions about the overall case, we'll take them too, which actually brings me to a question from B. Denoshi on YouTube. I'll throw this to you, Mauricio. How long will this case take, and how is it going so far compared to how you may have expected? What do you think, Mauricio?
I mean, I think it could take, 6 months. It's a high-profile case. They got a lot of people on it, a lot of boots on the ground.
Wait, just to be clear, 6 months, you think the trial, or you think in the trial, or how long? Because this is scheduled for May of 2025. What do you think?
Then it should go in May of 2025. I mean, I think that they have so many people working on this that they should be ready. And I'm pretty sure that the defense has a client that's itching to get out of there. So they're going to want to go. Now, I assume that there's voluminous evidence simply because if you can't get the machine guns with altered serial numbers out of your house, I'm pretty sure that your hard drives are chock full of bad information and videos and pictures. So I'm sure that they got a lot to deal with, but I'm pretty sure if they give them a date in May of 2025, that they're probably going to be ready to go.
We have some updates from court. We now have the prosecution's response to what's been happening. Safa, so the Judge Subramanian, by the way, this is a live look outside that courthouse. No cameras allowed in the courtroom, but we're doing our best to update you about what's happening. So the judge says to the government, what happened here? Why were they taking photos of Mr. Combs' notebooks? AUSA Mary Christine Slavic says none of the prosecutors.
I want y'all to pay attention how we're way ahead of him on the updates. Please pay attention.
Had contact with them. The judge said, but investigator one was monitoring Mr. Combs' communications in and out. The judge said, is this a Fourth Amendment violation? AUSA Slavic, so again, this is the prosecutor. The BOP investigator works for the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons. He's focused on safety, and if the defendant is in compliance with BOP rules, he was not. If it is true that BOP gave us the info, what do you make of that back and forth, Safa?
It doesn't really answer the question, in my opinion. And here's the thing. the Bureau of Prisons, the federal government, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Department of Homeland Security, and FBI, they are all law enforcement. They are all the government. The prosecution teams are imputed with knowing and being in possession of things that law enforcement is in possession of. And I know there's a question here with respect to the Bureau of Prisons, but it definitely does possibly raise that Fourth Amendment issue because, again, why are we taking photos of these documents? Why is Investigator One targeted with monitoring Mr. Combs' phone calls? Now, generally
Now, I want you all to hear what she's saying. I want you all to hear what she's saying because at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They didn't have no damn business confiscating that man's stuff. Okay, they could sit there and say, oh, some of it was about birthdays and family, whatever. It doesn't matter. They had no damn business messing with his notes, knowing that he had correspondences with his attorney somewhere in that cell, and knowing that at the end of the darn day, they had somebody monitoring him, investigator one. Okay, let me reiterate that because why is that important? Because investigator one is working on the damn case. Investigator one is working on the case. So if he's sitting there monitoring Diddy, don't you think he would have seen if Diddy was doing anything shady, had any type of contraband or whatever? Okay, so what was the point of them going through his things? Like I'm telling y'all, this could absolutely be a whole damn setup, okay, to get Diddy's ace up out of there. And I've been telling y'all that this is like really pissing me off. But let's continue.
speaking, every inmate's phone calls, they're monitored. There are searches that are conducted all of the time. But this seems to be a little heightened, specifically because you're taking photos of paper. Paper doesn't appear to be a threat to the physical safety of any inmate in the jail. Not only that, but it seems that there's more attention that's paid to Mr. Combs as things continue to progress. And it's very common that the prosecution team will monitor or will have those phone calls pulled. But here there seems to be just a number of things. And based on the totality of the circumstances, there's a significant red flag that's going off.
Okay, Mauricio, I'm going to go to you with a new update from court. So the prosecutor says none of the prosecution team were aware that investigator one was going to be part of this suite. The judge said, when did you become aware that photos had been taken of Mr. Combs' notes? Prosecutor responds, after the suite. The judge said, but before the grand jury subpoena? Now, the reason that is interesting, and I believe what they're talking about, is if you go back to the government's filing, they said as part of that investigation, the government has sent grand jury subpoenas and document requests to the Bureau of Prisons for the defendant's monitored communications, including calls and emails. And then it says from those materials, the government has learned that the defendant has persisted in engaging in obstructive conduct since he entered BOP custody. We talked about that before. Mauricio, your reaction?
So
Dawn, I got a couple more updates. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay. So anyway, 2 minutes ago, Combs' lawyer, Agna Philo, says we're studying this man's life for our bail application, his charity work. This is not a single day, a single event case. We spend time on every nook and cranny of this man's life. I have a case of Bufano, okay? Very important case. Now, Combs' lawyer, Agna Philo, then says Mr. Combs comes out and read us his to-do list. That is privileged. The 19 pages include things that we have said to him. The name of a potential witness, a retired doctor. Now they have that. This is in the heartland of attorney-client. And he is not lying. Okay, he is not lying. Man, this is pissing me off. I told y'all the feds was going to F this up. I told you they was going to F this up. Please pay attention. But let's continue.
they're basically saying that they're subpoenaing documents, but they're sending their investigator to get what they subpoenaed because they don't want to wait for the subpoena. Listen, it's making them look ridiculous. The longer that we talk in this particular broadcast, the worse it's going for them. What you just said.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard that what he said. Leon said they stepped over their boundaries. Yes, they did. Okay. With that all being said, he said the longer we stay on this broadcast, the worse it's getting for him. You know why? because that means the judge is asking them question after question after question. Okay, this is still going on. And at the end of the day, they said it sounds ridiculous, that the feds are looking ridiculous. Now, y'all know the feds aren't stupid, right? Y'all know the feds know what they're doing. So how are they looking ridiculous? Because this is likely a concerted effort, like I said. Please pay attention, honey. The jig is up. All right, the jig is absolutely up. And you heard it here first.
Really makes them look bad. You guys didn't even know where Investigator 1 was, but then again, you took what Investigator 1 gave you and you used it. Like, I don't know. It seems like no one wants to take responsibility for this PR nightmare that they created themselves. And at the end of the day, what did they get? And also, before I forget, they're taking pictures of a legal pad. That's kind of already like, it's a legal pad. Like, people would say you should have, the thought that maybe there could be some writings or notes regarding your case on a legal pad. So that's something else that could be looked at. But as far as I'm concerned, a prosecutor saying that they didn't know that Investigator 1, it doesn't seem true at all.
Well, there is a response where, again, the prosecution is saying it seems the defense is not being totally transparent, because here's another update from court. The judge said to the prosecution, so there's nothing else? The AUSA Slavic, the prosecutor said, Mr. Agnifilo says the defense team does not know what the Tain team has, but we made a production to them last night of everything, not just the 19 pages that were passed to the case team. So Safa, they're basically saying that, yeah, defense is saying they want to know everything that was taken. They want to know everything. We told them everything that was taken or everything that was produced.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Here is the problem with that, beloveds. How does the defense team know that the prosecutor is telling the damn truth? How do they know that the prosecution actually gave them everything? Okay, please pay attention, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. There is such a thing called prosecutorial misconduct, where prosecutors actually engage in nefarious, unethical practices just so they can win their cases. Now, I'm not saying that's what they have done, but there's always a possibility. Okay, now let's see what he has to say about it.
You may have finally disclosed it because you knew that this hearing was coming forward today, but this should have been done long ago. Not only that, but I think at this point, what's important is to get Investigator 1 into that courtroom, put Investigator 1 on the stand to make a determination as to how he was directed to get these documents, who he spoke to, how he came to the decision to photograph those documents, and so on and so forth. So I really think that's where we are, is having Investigator 1 come on the stand. That's going to be the answer to all of our questions.
And I absolutely agree. Okay, I absolutely agree. That's what they need to do. Because sounds like a whole lot of shady businesses going on here. Okay, please pay attention. Sounds like a whole lot of shady businesses going on here at the end of the day. And like I said, how do they even know that the prosecution is telling the truth at this point? Because they've already engaged in some ridiculous, unethical, nefarious practices as far as the eye can see. Okay? As far as the eye can see. Now, Tawana, thank you, beloved, for purchasing a membership. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, let's see if there's another update here. Okay, not yet. Still waiting, but let's continue.
Are things we discuss, trial strategy, who we should speak to undermine a witness's credibility. We discuss everything with Mr. Combs. This is a sweeping racketeering case. I want to bring back in a criminal defense attorney, Safa Robinson Frere. She was kind enough to stay with us. And we're also joined by criminal defense attorney Natalie Whittingham-Burrell. Great to have you both here. Natalie, I'll start with you. As you heard a little bit about the updates here, what do you make of this? Did the government engage?
Corey Thomas says, not Shakur. Do you think the judge did Mr. case with all the public publicity and all the victims that are involved? Here's the thing, beloved. I get what you're trying to say, a couple of typos, but basically you're saying, do I think the judge would do that? Well, here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what the judge wants to do. Okay, if there is any type of technicality, if they have behaved inappropriately, the judge may have to do so whether they like to or not. That's how that goes. There are rules of law for a reason. There are certain things you cannot do for a reason. Of course, the judge doesn't want to. Who would? Hell, Diddy needs to be right where he is as far as I'm concerned. I don't want him to get out. But the bottom line is you have to follow the rule of law. That's just what it is. Have you not ever in your life heard of somebody getting off on a technicality because of something that the judge or that the court did or an officer did or a prosecutor did? At the end of the day, these things do happen. Okay, so we don't know for certain, but that's just a theory that I have because I know ain't no way in hell the prosecutors are this negligent, this ridiculous, this stupid, and just doing the most. Okay, they know exactly what they're doing. So I'm sorry, but I have questions. Okay, I have questions. And one thing about it is, at the end of the day, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because, as far as I'm concerned, they have better sense than this. Okay. I'm not even a prosecutor. All right. I went to school for criminal justice, but I do know that these things are not how it's supposed to go. And if you're listening to the legal analysts on this show that we're listening to, they're saying the same thing that I'm saying. Okay. And that I've been saying for the most part. Now, they haven't said that, oh, they think that they're trying to protect Diddy or protect the other people or whatever. But basically, they're saying the same things that I'm sitting here telling y'all right now. Okay. I'm telling you some of this stuff and then letting you hear what they say. They're saying the same thing. So please make it all make sense. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. Let me go back because I accidentally scrolled past or scrolled backwards. So now I got to catch up to speed. Okay.
Did
I
the
think that's where I
government
started.
engage in wrongdoing?
So I think I would
Natalie, I
personally
can't hear you. I don't know if we're working on the audio. I don't know if you're muted. I'm trying to work it.
not muted.
There we go. There you go.
Hoping
Hey,
can hear me.
here, now we can hear you,
Okay.
Natalie.
Well, I am of the opinion that I would need to see the work product itself, or the materials to see. But certainly here, the prosecution did not take, I think, the necessary steps to safeguard attorney work product.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. Okay. In other words, I said I didn't use those exact words, but that's exactly what I said. Now here's some more update. Okay. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, so now they're saying, as of 4 minutes ago, judge says, I'm looking at the case you cited. Miss Slavic, are you familiar with it? AUSA says, I'm not sure, Your Honor. Combs' attorney, Agnifilo, says, Miss Garagos has something to say. Teeny Garagos then says, they say there's a covert grand jury investigation, but there's the current indictment. And then AUSA Slavic says, we're talking here about 11 pages of notes, not a stack. None of those notes are legal. The judge then says the notes themselves are not legal, but that page was in that legal pad that was marked legal. That was marked legal. That's what the judge just said. Please pay attention. Then AUSA Slavic says, it's not clear when the defendant wrote that on. Oh, don't try to act like he just wrote it on after the fact. Don't try to act like that. Now they're trying to play games. They're playing games, people. Please pay attention. They're playing effing games.
Communication information, because even if they've given it to this so-called clean team, they have seen it. The police have seen it. And so there is a possibility here that they did violate his right to attorney-client communication and privilege. It's very, very possible, depending on what was in those materials. And things that are marked attorney-client, work product are clearly attorney-client work product, and they should not be looking at it.
And Natalie, let me follow up with that because Mark Agnifilo just said, we are studying this man's life for our bail application, his charity work. This is not a single day, a single event case. We spend time on every nook and cranny of this man's life. So it seems to me.
Okay, we're ahead of him on the update, so you all already heard what he's saying right there. Let's go to the next couple of updates that just came in. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, so it goes on to say, the judge says, we have a bail hearing on Friday at which I will not consider these material. In terms of running down the privilege issues, we can take weeks. Okay, any issue with that time frame? Then Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, says no. The judge says, I'll issue a schedule. Okay, then his attorney, Agnifilo, says if they are intending to seek a superseding indictment, he says if they are intending, he asked if they are intending to seek a superseded indictment with these notes. Remember, I told you all this too. You heard it here first. I told you all that they were going to try to seek a superseded indictment. I told y'all that weeks ago. Please pay attention. Now, goes on to say, hold on, I'm trying to find my place again. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So he goes, Agnifalo says, if are they trying to seek, are they intending to seek a superseded indictment with these notes? The judge looks at the AUSA Slavic and says, Slavic? Like he's asking her, is this what y'all are trying to do? To which AUSA Slavic says, just to be clear, the filter team can keep the notes. She's asking, can the filter team keep the notes? The judge says, if they are not involved in the grand jury investigation or the case. Okay, and so that's all we have thus far. So now the judge is going to schedule another hearing. Let's continue.
They're saying you should consider, government, everything that's in his jail cell as part of his criminal case. You don't have a right to see it. Am I understanding that correctly, Natalie?
That might be what they're saying, but it's a bit more restrained than that as far as the federal rules are concerned. And yes, for the bail application, his life is very important. However, conversations with third parties, with individuals that are not a part of the defense team, do not fall under attorney-client work products, nor is it necessarily attorney-client work product. Not that the prosecution is alleging this, but for the attorney to assist the defendant in committing some type of crime. If they could allege that, Sean P. Diddy Combs is trying to obstruct justice and he's using his attorney's communication in order to do that, that's no longer privileged communication because we cannot participate as attorneys in criminal activity. But let's say that that's not what the material is and it goes to his case, then yes, that is privileged material and they have no business looking at it in any regard. They have no right to look at it.
Safa, another.
Now, let me just tell you all a little bit about what she just said. I told you all this on yesterday, I believe it was, when I was reading to you the filings. And I told you all I was going off about Diddy's attorneys because they were saying that Diddy's attorneys talked to the witness. Remember the grand jury witness? And Mark Agnifalo had initially said that, he wouldn't talk to him. He couldn't talk to him. And we didn't talk to him. All right. And then, the prosecution says that they did. Now, they claim that they have phone records, okay? They have phone records to prove that these transactions happened or that these correspondences happened. Now, if these things that they have said are true, that would take away the ability of them to claim this as attorney-client privilege. But if they didn't, it could be just exactly what we're sitting up here talking about, okay? So we're going to find out. But like I said, the judge is going to have this, have another hearing, and also that bail hearing on Friday, which I also plan to be talking about.
Another update from court. Combs' attorney said, Mr. Combs comes out and reads us his to-do list. That is privileged. The 19 pages include things we have said to him. These are the notes that were allegedly taken by the government. The name of a potential witness, a retired doctor, now they have that. This is the heart of attorney-client. Safa.
Absolutely, and I agree with them. And to my point I said earlier was, at the end of the day, who is in the best position to determine what is attorney-client privilege or what is attorney-client work product? The prosecution isn't. It's up to the defense to say, these are our witnesses, these are the avenues that we are exploring, and that's up to us for our defense case. So
That's right. Now, I want you all to keep that in mind because I told you, here's the thing. The prosecution doesn't get to sit there and decide what's privileged and what's not. That's what they don't get to do. Because as the judge said earlier, that how did they know what was or wasn't privileged unless they, in fact, asked the defense? Remember that part? Remember that part? Okay, at the end of the day, so please pay attention, honey. This could all be a whole fiasco for all we know. But anyway, let's keep going.
prosecution isn't in the position to tell us or to tell his defense team what is privileged and what is not. And if anything, have the hearing on the issue and let the judge make the determination.
It's interesting because Natalie, and by the way, if anybody has any questions about this hearing, has questions about the overall case, submit them on YouTube. We'll answer them for you on air. Natalie, it seems the defense is saying, particularly when it comes to this search of the Metropolitan Detention Center where Combs is being housed, that this sweep, this raid that was pre-planned, and it was looking for contraband, and they found homemade weapons, they found drugs, they found, all these different things, electronic devices. It seems what the defense is suggesting, and this is a pretext to really search what was in Sean Combs' jail cell. You think that's a little of an extreme position?
It's not extreme at all. I think it actually is a pretext to search his jail cell because there's allegations before he was incarcerated that he was tampering with witnesses. Of course, they're going to look and go see whether or not he's still tampering with witnesses. That's not far afield to me at all. What ultimately matters, though, is that it doesn't matter if it's a pretext, because no person incarcerated has a Fourth Amendment right to privacy that you would have in your own home. You just don't have that right. However, the attorney-client privilege communication, that is sacrosanct and that is protected. Right. So if they use this pretext in order to get into attorney-client communications purposefully and did not take the necessary safeguards, then they've committed a massive ethical violation. But as far as whether or not they need a reason, there doesn't need to be a pretext, because they don't need a reason to search his cell because he has no expectation of privacy in his cell.
Interesting. So, Safa, let me go to you with this. We have a question from Benoit on YouTube. I'm wrestling with this as well as what we can expect by the end of the day. But the question is from Benoit on YouTube, is it possible the judge makes a move today with this situation? It's kind of like I'm debating with it because it seems like the judge and the defense are saying we need more information. It also seems like he's saying, defense counsel, can't you work with the prosecution on this? Do you think we're going to get a decision on this today?
We may not get a decision on this today. The judge at this point in time is exploring, what actually.
We're definitely not going to get a decision today because I already told you. Because remember, my updates are ahead of theirs. So I've already told you that the judge said he's going to schedule another hearing. But here's the latest update. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Before I get to this update, let's have a word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Go to Lisa Crafts, and also you can find it at Walmart.com. Now, with that all being said, it's over for the day. These are the last updates, and the guy who was reporting all of this, the very due diligent reporter who was putting all this information out for everybody, he's got his PayPal listed or whatever. Yeah, he's got his PayPal, his Venmo, and all of that. So I'm going to send him a donation because I really appreciate him for putting out this information so that we could be as though we're almost like we're literally in the courtroom. Okay. And unlike some people, I appreciate when people drop receipts, okay, that otherwise I may not have been privy to. Okay. So let's get the last couple of updates. Now he says, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, says they should preserve the video. Now, remember, because they already requested the video of the entire search. All of that stuff was recorded, and Mark Agnifilo wants the darn video. He says they should preserve the video just in case they try to get slick, okay, and want to try to act like they lost it or whatever. And so then AUSA Slavic says, fine. And then the judge says, what about the Jeffries Abercrombie case in EDNY? And that's the Eastern District of New York. The judge says the government released a $10 million. The government released released him. This is what the judge says. Okay, this is sounding like Diddy might get bail. Pay attention, because he says, what about the Jeffries, Abercrombie and Fitch case in Eastern District of New York? The government released him on a $10 million bail. Be prepared to address the difference. Well, I'll be damned. Diddy just might get bail. Then AUSA Slavic says it's very different. Honey, the judge ain't trying to hear it. Okay, then the judge says, see you Friday. See you Friday. Okay, that's what the judge said. Now I told y'all that and effed around and effed up. Okay, now y'all think it's something shady going on, because I sure do. Because now they're basically talking about the judge brought up Michael Jeffries from Abercrombie and Fitch. Didn't I bring him up too? See, I want y'all to pay attention to my critical thinking skills. That's what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to pay attention to the Queen's critical thinking skills, because I told y'all days ago, and let's not forget that I was the first one, you heard it here first, who reported on Michael Jeffries of Abercrombie and Fitch nefariousness back in January or February of this year. Okay, before he ever even got indicted, I was already reporting on him. Not only him, Vince McMahon as well. Please pay attention, because one thing I do is I call out these traffickers, okay? So with that all being said, the judge is talking about see you on Friday, because Friday is the bail hearing, and we'll be reporting that live for reaction also. But please pay attention. The judge is asking them, basically, what's up with Mike Jeffries over in the Eastern District of New York? And then Slavic AUSA is talking about, oh, that's very different. Yeah, well, is it? Is it? Because guess what? They said that he too was intimidating witnesses. They said that he too is accused of SEX trafficking. They said that he too was doing the same things that Diddy's accused of. So how the hell is he already out and been out? And Diddy's been sitting in jail longer than him. Make it all make sense. I told y'all why. Okay, because he got the complexion for the protection. Now the judge has brought that into question. And that could be the judge's excuse for giving him bail. Okay, please pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. At the end of the day, just remember you heard it here first. Just remember you heard it here first. And for those of you who have memberships, we're about to get into these receipts with these liars and frauds out here clout chasing and grifting. Okay? Marie says, good job, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Pink Envy says, excellent work, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Okay? Dion says, I see you, Queen. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Thank you, beloved. Y'all know, honey, the Queen be on it. Okay, see, this is why people always steal my talking points, okay? Because I have critical thinking skills. I have the gift of discernment, and I'm very good at what I do. And that's why you'll see people out here mimicking what the Queen already said after I said it. That's why I make sure to keep my timestamps, okay, for the people who can't figure things out of their own and want to copy and all of that. All right, so that all being said, please like and share. Okay, most hated bronze flat part God said, Queen, this is crazy. It absolutely is crazy. I told you, honey, sometimes the truth is in fact stranger than fiction. Okay, so now we're about to get started on the next broadcast. It's 4:38. For those of you who have memberships, I will see you promptly. I'm not going to be late, so don't you be late at 4:38, because we're about to drop these receipts, okay? And we calling out the liars and frauds. And whoever don't like it, well, they know what they can do. Okay, Luna says, Queen, you are so sweet. Thank you, beloved. Okay. Yvonne said, not grifting. Oh, baby, they out here grifting. I got the receipts on the grift. I got the receipts on the grift, honey. You know, I conduct investigative journalism. That's what I do. And I got the receipts on the grift. And I'm going to drop those too, so don't worry. I'm going to let you know how it's all going down. Now, there is the link for the members only broadcast that's about to start. All right. Christopher said, Queen cooking. Thank you, beloved. So let me cook. Okay, so that all been said, everyone enjoy the rest of this. Oh, hold on. Before we roll up out of here, since I have a few more minutes before the next live starts, let's finish listening to what they were saying, what the legal experts were saying, okay? Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Let's see what they were talking about. Let's finish that, and then we'll be up out of here. Fat Boo purchased a membership. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you who support the channel by liking the videos, by sharing the videos, by purchasing memberships, sending Cash App donations, super chats, okay? All of those things, super stickers, gifts, and all of the stuff that you send to the Queen, okay? PayPal donations, whatever. I appreciate you no matter how you support the channel, all right? And that's why I'm going to keep bringing y'all the news and giving y'all the receipts. Okay, so let's continue. Let me take that one off and put this other one on. since we're about to be up out of here. Okay, here we go.
Actually happened, what remedies are available to him to rectify this situation. And so we could get a decision today. He may reserve on that decision. You know, we just don't know.
And what would that decision be?
Whether or not what's included in those documents is a breach of that attorney-client privilege and relationship, and if so, what sanctions will the judge impose?
And that leads me to the next question we have, Natalie. This is from Kwang Lee on YouTube. There's absolutely no way Diddy gets a dismissal due to this screw up, right?
Prepare yourself, guys. So it just depends on the facts of the case, and the court will likely do a good faith analysis.
Okay, y'all heard that, right? For anybody who was doubting, y'all heard that, right? You see how she paused and hesitated, and you heard what she said, right? Yeah, he could get a damn dismissal. Please pay attention. And that's what the defense has already asked for, a dismissal of the indictment. I want y'all to pay attention, okay? I know what I be talking about. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen, but I for damn sure told y'all that that's what could happen, okay? Who else is dropping these receipts like that? Okay, Marie quotes, thank you, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, let's go back and finish what she's saying.
Meaning, was the prosecution intentionally attempting to intercept attorney-client privilege communications, or were they genuinely looking for contraband and just happened to come across these things, right? Or were they just doing a search, hoping to find evidence of witness tampering and not anticipating finding so much attorney-client communications? But I want to be extremely clear here. Dismissal of a case for interception and misuse of attorney-client privilege communications is a rare remedy, but it is an available remedy. It can happen. Not saying it's going to happen here, but I'm saying that this is extremely serious, needs to be investigated further, and that is a potential thing that could happen, that the case gets dismissed.
Can I ask you about that? You mean a case could get dismissed where the judge says, prosecution, I can't believe you did this. You tainted this entire case. It shows what you're about. Dismissed. Almost, by the way, like happened with the Alec Baldwin case. But is it that, or is it another in the examples that you've seen in the past, where because of an attorney-client breach, or because of a violation of a defendant's constitutional rights, a key piece of evidence can no longer come in, and then the whole case falls apart? Because I think the problem with the second one is, even if the government can't use anything that they found, it doesn't affect the racketeering charge or the sex trafficking charge or the transportation to engage in prostitution charge. So it seems like what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because this would be such an egregious error, the judge would say this taints the whole case. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
So here's the thing. That is a potential outcome. Another potential outcome is a piecemeal redaction of whatever it is that they intercepted. But we have to remember this. Under the Sixth Amendment, he has a right, every defendant has a right to communicate with their attorney, to vigorous defense, and that is a due process right. It's the way that you receive a fair trial. The prosecution can so much interfere in that right by intercepting those communications, where they shouldn't even be seeing them, that he no longer gets a fair trial because of how deeply they got into his case. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but that's why I said it's a rare remedy, but it does happen that you have so far infringed on his right that it's impossible for him to receive a fair trial. It doesn't even necessarily matter the value of the evidence. And that's why the courts will get into an analysis of whether or not this was something that was intentionally done by the prosecution that for a strategic advantage versus something that was done maybe accidentally or negligently.
Sure. I understand that. Yeah. And I think that's a good distinction to make. Safa, we have an update from court. I want to read everybody. The judge says, I'm looking at the case you cited, Ms. Slavic. This is the prosecutor. Are you familiar with it?
Okay, we already heard all that. We already heard all that because I told you guys I was way ahead of him on the updates. And with that all being said, y'all heard what that lady said. Now, Auntie Leah says, damn, I can't join. I can't find the button. Beloved, there should be a button that offers you a chance to become a member, beloved. Thank you, Sierra, for becoming a member. Peace, love, and blessings to you. There should be a button. Where is it at? I'm looking on my phone. There's a button at the bottom that says super chat, stickers. Moderators, please tell Auntie Leah how to find that button to become a member. Fat Boo said it's a $sign. Okay, it's a $sign. Okay, so that all been said. Dion said, click join. Click the join button to become a member. That's all you got to do is click the join button. Thank you, beloved, for helping her out. So with that all been said, let me drop the link to the membership broadcast again. Okay, there we go. It's 15 minutes from now. Gonna be starting promptly at 5 o'clock. Okay, so I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoyed this broadcast because I did, honey. This was very juicy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this, and I will see you all in the next broadcast in about 15 minutes. All right. So each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got